the time I keep building credibility and be that guy. The clarity of what kind of life do you want in the end. Ask yourself, do I still have the good?
Now, let's give it up for Rannvijay Singha as we get ready to hear him talk about maneuvering the difficult road to success.
I like how you're defaulting to the fact that you think you're going to be doing this interview. You're like, please take a seat first and let me take over.
First of all, good afternoon, everyone. To be amongst teachers is very daunting since I was very young. And thankfully, there are a lot of kids.
Let's dive right into the deep end, because I love the fact that you brought up the values with which you were raised. Because I think for 19 seasons, am I right? 19 seasons of Roadies, we saw you. And it is a reality show at the end of the day, and that comes with its own frills and trims. But I think one thing that resonated with everyone was your value system and your core personality. And I think that's what made everybody, no matter what their age group, connect with you. Which is also why, like, you're the father of two, but Gen Zers still think you're absolutely cool. But, you know, in today's day and age, somehow cool and values don't seem to be two sides of a coin. You know what I mean? Somehow to be cool is to not
put these value systems, because they're very casual in a lot of their relationships, which works for other things. We have other problems. I think we have other problems because the communication between parents and generations, that is our real problem. The value system, as soon as a kid understands, like every kid here when I came in was like, Namaste. I'm like, wow, this has been taught. This kid already has that whole value system. And I hope the lines of communication are open between this kid and the teachers. And that cannot happen from down upwards. It can happen from upwards down. It has to percolate down in the system.
A lot of them in the age of social media especially, there's a lot of peer pressure. There's a lot of social pressure. And it's hard to navigate that, especially when you're a young teenager, you have these hopes and dreams, you want to be cool, you want to have the values, but you know, you want to have the right kind of friends. How do you navigate that? Because there are a lot of pressure points there.
It's very interesting, the time that we were born in. I was born in the 80s. There was no phones. There was no social media. These kids are born, and social media exists. So these kids, why do you love social media? This is part of their life. So we are that first generation that has seen life without social media and with. Social media is a tool. It's empowered people from homes to build businesses, to travel the world, to educate people. And with every situation, there's a pro and there's a con.
How in your 20s do you have the clarity to refuse what you make in a month, you're going to get in a single day and be an overnight star? You're either slightly off your rocker.
Yes.
Or there's a great amount of clarity which you're crediting to default, and I'd like to know which one it is.
It was just, I knew from the age of 14, 15, the things that I want to do in my life. Things, like practical. I want to ride motorcycles. It was a thing I want to do all my life. I want to play sports. I want to play basketball in the evening. In the morning, it could be badminton or ultimate frisbee or whatever. Okay? I want to hang out with my friends. And till the time I was in school and college, all of this was happening pretty much for free. So the kind of resources that you want at the end of your life are the least, whereas you have maximum money. So you might as well live now, right? And I think this awareness is in this generation where you'd rather choose the life that you want to lead than to accumulate so much. What if you have 100, 200 crores at 60, but you can't physically go down, you know, in a Grand Canyon and camp because you're 60. So I think the clarity of what kind of life do you want in the end and how early can you achieve it. And if you can achieve it early and spend it with your friends and family and be worth a little less, it's okay. That's what I feel. This is not, I don't know whether this is correct or not. Or maybe in 20 years I'll be like, I wish I worked a lot. So just saying that the clarity comes from the kind of life I wanted.
So it was nice to see a professor who had a life of his own, was human, was flawed, still cared about, his students and their growth. And he went about it in a very, very unique manner. So how much of that was in the script? How much of that was you? Because from interacting with you, it almost seems like a lot of it was just you, being you on screen.
It is. So a lot of times I get cast by people who know me, right? So somebody, Akash Khurana wrote this, whatever, Ghazal wrote the script and everything, and then he didn't know me at that time, but the thing is, if you've seen me, you kind of know me, because I don't play a character. So I said, let's ask. So they asked me, they said, this is the kind of guy, and we just want you to, be a professor who's very good at teaching.
Like you said, our teachers are the very first people who influence us outside of our family, outside of that inner circle. And in a lot of ways, sometimes we forget that they are people with personal lives of their own.
It's those teachers that leave an impact. So every time I do something, and because she said, your sports has taken you so far in 2000. So every time, like I was somewhere doing some kite surfing in somewhere with the best in the world. And I called, I said, ma'am, do you know what I'm doing? She's like, you must be doing something crazy. And I'm here. And remember that my sports is taking me to places, and I'm going to 10 different countries across the world with the best extreme athletes trying their sport out and doing something. And she's like, well done. When are you coming to school and telling this to the kids? So I do that a lot. I go and tell kids that, but there's a lot of hard work, and always stay uncomfortable to build resilience.
What do you say to yourself, like a quote which you say to yourself to stay true and like down to earth?
I've done very well. Everything that I want, validation is from my grandparents, my parents. Hamara bachcha bada acha hai. That's all I want. So every time I'm down and I'm thinking of, should I do this? Why didn't I do this? Oh, bad times. At this time, what would my dad want me to do? What would my mom want me to do? She would want me to say, get up and fight. Parents need to be proud. That is another insecurity that I'm dealing with, that if one day they say, we're not proud of you, to pata nahi kya hoga. I hope that doesn't happen though.
And what did you learn from those shows, that while choosing your next shows, you just thought of it, and what were your disadvantages in that?
So I'm very proud of the fact that I was part of the core team that suffered and was uncomfortable for the first 10 years, and then with a lot of it doing well, which we were lucky, things came in, more resources. But I learned by 3-4 years the reason why I was working on those shows, because I was myself. And a lot of other celebrities don't have either the opportunity, you will listen. So till the time I keep building credibility and be that guy, it'll work for me. It doesn't have to be a successful movie, doesn't have to be a successful show, but God has been very kind. If I left MTV, I did a show called Shark Tank, that also did well. I did a show called Mismatch, that did well. Then I did a show then I did City of Dreams. So I'm not looking to latch myself to something successful. Ye wala show karunga. I'm like, just build on yourself, get credibility. So every time when you're talking, people are like, theek hai yaar, ye bol sakta hai, for example. That's all. I only concentrate on that.
It takes a lot to bare your soul for people so they can learn from your life experiences. Thank you.
You.
From the bottom of my heart.
You've been so kind. Thank you, ma'am.